Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Yeah, this is that guy, our mover, our shaker, our professional tennis player, newlywed, author, architect. He does it all. He's such a dear friend. I'm excited. Mr. John Riggio back joining us here today, again, based out of Metuchen, New Jersey, but world renowned. John Riggio, how are you doing? Still on a high from that honeymoon, right?
Yes, everything is going great. Thank you, Jill.
You're
It's good
welcome.
to see
Send
you.
my love to the missus and tell us, what are we going to discuss for today? What are we going to learn? What are we going to see?
But I think since also we were talking about my wife, I had talked about the other show. I showed pictures in Vietnam. She had her own beauty
Yeah.
shop. But
Mm-hmm.
just to clarify, the beauty shop wasn't really just like nails and makeup or anything. It was very serious. They were doing things like Botox,
Which I
facelifts.
need. Uh-huh.
She has a medical certificate.
Yeah.
It's very serious work that she was doing. And she's also, I think her abilities were very similar to someone I was talking about that was a friend in college where she was already a millionaire in her second year. She was already very young, like in her maybe 20s, that she owned this whole three-story beauty salon and was even teaching. She was in her beauty salon. She had classes teaching people, and her students, they still talk to her today. So I think that's just to put in picture what's going on. That her work was someone very serious. And so that is what's happening now. She's here with me in the US. Her sister is still keeping some of that business alive there for her, but just very low.
Wonderful.
I, I think from what she described, it really went very down, almost like out of business type of level compared to where it started off. So I just to add on to that about Sherry, I showed a video that she's still wants to do some business, and of course, our common interest was health nutrition, and she got into this thing with Unicity. I bet these people who know about Unicity and which was a very interesting thing about this health nutrition. I think also health nutrition with sport players and everyone really likes the health nutrition. I went through a lot of things like this, and it seems to be good fun. We have that in common with ourselves is the whole thing in health nutrition with use. In fact, I have one of her things right here, Unicity bio.
Hi.
So she got involved with this. I think she's involved with the company. She was with them for a while, and she still likes the idea of selling that. That is one interesting thing that we have in common was the health nutrition. I think this is very similar to like if you have like a VA drink. It's a very similar type of nutrition where it's just like vegetables powdered, and you just add it to water instead of buying the whole can of vegetables. It's just a powdered version of something like that. It's very light, very simple, innocent type of nutrition. But a lot of people get into this and they like it. It is very good. That's one thing about her that so her work it really had nothing to do with nutrition. Her work is somewhat very serious. That beauty salon that her sister is still keeping going is somewhat very serious type of work. It wasn't just light cosmetics or anything. It was very serious. So that is just one interesting story about her. Because this kind of work that I also do, my profession, my architect work, is very doctor style. A lot of people compare it to working as a doctor. It's very difficult. You really have to get in here on hands, and that is one interesting thing. Something we had in common and about her years ago, and that is really one thing that's really interesting. So I think today I was able to get some videos of my lessons that I give on the weekend. I have a video I could show today, I could share it to you. It shows how I go through the basic instruction. And this instruction is going back all the way when I was young, learning pro tennis. And I take all the different basic things of learning from pro tennis, and people can come and they can learn just to start off playing. The basics of playing tennis, pro tennis and recreation tennis are the same. as you get better and better, playing pro tennis it is a little different. There's different ideas. When I went to Japan, the CG Nishio started to refresh my memory about playing better, playing pro style, and some things did start to refresh in my memory. Just a few key hints made a big difference of returning to play. Playing recreational tennis is very basic. If you're older, also you're just learning. A lot of people are also using tennis as therapy for weightlifting. A lot of people that go to weightlifting go to the gym
Yeah.
too much. A lot of people they go to play tennis as therapy, loosen up their muscles. And so that is one interesting thing. So I'll share with you the picture today. Let me just share
Sure.
this here. And let me get on the share settings first for just 1 second. I want to make sure the
Yeah, make
audio.
sure the audio's on. Yep, I know. We've navigated this for years together. We both learned. I didn't know originally either. I'd hit that button.
Okay, let me just make sure that this is on here.
Sure.
Here's sound. Okay, good. All right, so then maybe get into this here.
Okay.
Let me just get this here 1 second. All right, let me just open the photograph. And then we get back onto this. Okay, there we are. And we get onto the Zoom.
Yay.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
Perfect.
I don't know if we can see it here. Okay, share screen. Here we are. Let's share this. Okay, good. Okay, great. So I think this is just from one of the weekends that we went out. And it's a usual meetup. Sherry was nice enough to take a video for me of the instruction. So this here, just some pictures. That's her picture. Just some basic photographs. They're all clean
Aw.
here. She really likes this.
Picture.
I mean, it's really good. This is let me see if this was a video. So you said okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so this here is showing. Okay, so this is the weekend video, and can you see this clearly? This video going on?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
No.
Yes. Oh, I see you. Yeah. It's a little
Okay.
sketchy, but it's clear.
So what I'm showing here is a 2-minute video, and this is just showing how you are supposed to orientate yourself with the tennis court. If you just played, some of these people had just went to, I recommend say like go to like one of the local department stores, you pick up a racket and you come down to the court to play. You've never run on the tennis court before. I explained to do these 2 exercises, one running around the perimeter, one the exercise. And this is so when you play tennis, you don't try to run, have no perception of the court, and then fall down. Very and this here, this part of that exercise where you go to the point is very good to test your endurance. Do the star run, you feel winded, means you really need to exercise more. It's a possibility that your health is a little under. Every once in a while, someone comes to play and their endurance is a little under. I recommend things like bicycling, jogging. You can go swimming, and running the basketball court is okay too. You get your endurance up to play tennis. If your endurance is a little down, you don't want to hurt yourself playing tennis. Anything on the court, things like that. So now this is I'm showing the people that came to the meetup about learning. They're running on the court now. They get there. I showed them, and then they're giving it a try to run around. And this is just everyone jogging and running on the court. They're
Yeah.
trying. This is the first they did the one around the court, then they're doing the star-shaped exercise. so they will get an idea. Now, this is some
Oh,
just some drills. So I go through, I teach everyone how to hold the racket, how to swing the racket. I go through and I show them basic hitting of the ball. I give them the ball. They have to try to hit it back. Usually, the most basic exercise in the forehand to hit a backhand. It's like you come back, I give them a net. You might learn the basics of serving. There are four kinds of serve:
yeah.
underhand and overhand straight, the slice, and the top spin. And then I would go through each lesson. But this is another little 40-second clip of me just feeding the ball to the player, and he's just trying to learn how to hit the ball over the net. This is like the first time he's played tennis, and he's just doing. A lot of people, they do very well. They get a racket, they play, and they start to learn pretty quickly. But I think the only thing is to get from this very basic level to maybe level 2 or 3, where you're playing with a majority of the players. It takes some time. It could take a year to really learn how to play that good, to move up to like level 2, and so it takes some time to really learn how to play tennis. But some people are pretty good coming out and just hitting the ball. This player is just learning how to hit the ball for the first time, and a lot of people, they learn now. This is the next player. He's coming on here. Some
Yeah.
people are slowly turning back to tennis. They didn't play for a number of years. They're coming back to play, and they're getting a little refresher. So once they hit the ball a few times, they're back on, and then they back onto the advanced where they could play much better. So a lot of people come here for a little refresher too, to remember playing. A lot of people used to play in college, and they come back and they're starting to refresh their memory of playing, and I give them the basic lessons, and then they're back playing. So this was a very good turnout. It's nice and warm. There's a lot of people on board here. And what I'm doing here is just giving the very basic instruction. If there's maybe like 3 or 4 players who are there for the very first time, I just do forehand, backhand hitting. If they are return players, we go to more advanced lessons. We go for pop-ups, backhands, all kinds of things. We go for all kinds of advanced lessons. And let's see how long this one is. This is a 30-second lesson. So this here, I'm just feeding the ball very basic so they learn. And this player isn't too bad. He's hitting the ball in. He's doing some nice forehand hitting. And so I think each player, as they get better, they get past a certain level, and then they're on to the other
Yeah.
mm, meet up where they're playing more advanced players, and they don't need any more
Yeah.
instruction. So let's see what we have here. This is another 42 second. This is with the next player, and I'm hitting the ball, and he's just learning. I mean, that hit in particular isn't too bad for like the first time you're
Yeah.
learning the ball. And this comes from the lesson I'm showing where you hold the racket, you swing the racket. As they hit I noticed some things about their playing, and I pointed out to them. And they're usually back on. I think here I'm explaining to him how to hit the ball. I'm explaining, I'm looking at him hitting, and I'm explaining to him to improve how he stands and hits the ball. I'm showing that he is moving his wrist too much to hit the ball. This is
Okay.
very typical of people just learning and moving their wrist. And if you don't stop moving your wrist too much and moving your elbow too much, it develops into a big problem. Some
Okay.
people, what they do instead of learning how to hit the ball correctly, they end up just putting a wrap over their wrist, over their elbow. They get tennis elbow, and they might even go to the doctor, but they're not going to correct their problem unless they just listen to the very basic instruction I give them, and that will get rid of their problems. They'll play much better, and they won't have injuries. Like I said, this is just a still picture, a couple still pictures of my playing here. And let's see what we got here. This is just the end of the meetup here. A lot of people, they like to buy my book at the end, just as a donation to the group. And that's about it. So let's see what we have here. So let's close this. Okay, good. Um, All right, so then let's see what we have here. Okay, so but that is pretty good pictures of the meetup and shows a little more in depth of how everyone was playing and how I was teaching them, pointing out some things, and then they start to improve. And as they improve, they're on their way to playing really good. I also like to point out that when people play tennis recreationally, if you play in the public park, things are pretty open. They're not going to bother you about your sneakers, what you're wearing, if you are running across the courts, things like that. If you have balls going all over, more than three balls. But if as you get into playing tennis, a lot of people start to go into this thing of going to different tennis centers. They go to different drills at different locations. And some locations are very strict. If you go to country clubs to play tennis, you have to have tennis sneakers. You're supposed to only use three balls. Your clothes are supposed to have appropriate clothing also. You're not supposed to run across all the courts. You're supposed to say thank you, to send the ball over if it goes over to another court. And there's all kinds of things like that. So I always explain that to them. I let them come. Most people wear jogging sneakers, and I always tell them if you're wearing jogging sneakers after you like playing tennis, you have to switch over because you're taking a chances that you are going to catch the edge of your tennis sneaker and fall over and hurt yourself. And I've seen it happen a number of times. I think I even on one of these podcasts of my playing, one player did tip over and fall on the floor. So I always tell them that so they don't hurt themselves. Every once in a while, some players, as they're playing tennis, they're learning tennis, they end up getting too much run, they end up having to go to the doctor, either a chiropractor or another doctor. One player even had a pinched nerve in her foot. She had to go for a little procedure, which is very serious. I think when I was young, if I had pain, I go to the doctor, but almost all the solutions were just to shake it off, put ace bandage. I was very lucky I didn't have to have those problems that it went past a certain level, because once you have to go for any procedure, the chances of you playing just as good go way down, and then it's over. I remember years ago, I played one tennis player who unfortunately had to go for a knee operation, and I played him a match. I think he unfortunately might have saw the end of his playing because once you have an operation like that that's very serious, the chances of playing at such top level is very difficult. That was the only thing about it. So that's why I always teach all the different stretches, preventing you from getting hurt too badly too. And so you can keep playing healthy, and that makes the game much more fun, of course. So I think from last week, I was just going to add on a few interesting things. I was talking about some really serious things last week in the tennis with the Playboy Club and everything like that, but I could share one photograph. And can you see this picture? So this is an example of one of those gifts.
Ooh, looks fancy.
Yeah, this is an example of one of those gifts. And it's none of my business, but I think somehow from last week, the whole story with my girlfriends getting sent to that Playboy Club, and when I was told they were really doing insubordination with my girlfriends caused big problems, which was really sad. And so let me just stop the share on this. But what happened is, so I was saying they usually give them a gift, and the gift usually looks something like that. So that is one interesting thing. The next thing was from those stories, which is very interesting. I was saying how there was certain hidden forces bothering my girlfriends, and it was very serious. I didn't say the true story last week, but Liz was recounting what happened. She was very young. We were going out, and She told me she got raped by 8 adult males out there when she was young, and that made me call for help for her. And I called around to everybody, so everyone knows her story, and that was really a sad thing. I think what happened was also in recent years, because all these stories they've continued on to the present time. I haven't really been that involved with calling around to people as much as before. And but one local kid over here in New Jersey, I was talking to him, and in fact, he started off where he was helping those people. He was helping the people who were causing problems for a long time. And what happened to him is when they had this thing of taking girlfriends and doing strange things to them, sometimes it would also involve drugs. So they would drug them up, then start driving them around. And then they're not, those females are not around anymore. They take on a new life. So he was telling me the story that he was part of those things, but they took his wife and pushed drugs on her and ended up doing the same thing, taking her and driving her around. And he got so infuriated, he turned state evidence and changed sides. And he told everything to the government. I think one interesting thing he was saying was that even when they try to clean up problems, try to stop people from causing problems, this group had another line of people that were going into each neighborhood with computers, and they were setting up problems to destabilize neighborhoods where they have people who weren't really their friends. And that's sort of an indication that when they're bothering, say, my girlfriends or other people, they're doing it on purpose to people who they know are really not their friends, and they're just fooling them. I think his story was just by chance that they did this to his wife. Was a big surprise to him, of course. It was a little upsetting to him. He felt betrayed. And that's what spurred that story for him to change sides and no longer help them at all and help the good people, people I was following and what I was always doing, which is very interesting. I think one added point is I was through this thing with the sports, the tennis. I had said about how my family, my father, my grandfather were involved in sports. My grandfather got into this thing of sponsoring players, Arthur Ashe, Rocky Marciano, boxing. I was like a veteran. And they were also very patriotic. They were also very involved in community things. They used to do things like the Boy Scouts. And in my father's generation, he not only did he did the Boy Scouts, he was also doing junior police. I think when I was growing up, we just did the Boy Scouts. We didn't do junior police, but he was involved with that. And as he was growing up he first in New Jersey, then moved into Manhattan and Brooklyn. He got involved with construction, but I noticed from what he told me when I was very young, maybe 4 years old, that construction didn't really have everything there, like community service. So he, in fact, really liked riding his motorcycle. He had his Harley Davidson motorcycle. He applied to become a policeman in New York City as a motorcycle policeman. And just by chance at that time as he was drafted into World War II. So him becoming a policeman did not take place because he ended up injured after he came back from the war. And what happened is so he didn't become a policeman, but he was already involved with those things. He was already aware of the junior police, and he liked this idea, and he did apply to become a motorcycle policeman in New York City. So they were always on the good side, the government side. And this is one interesting thing that was taking place. So I think that's one story. And I think one story about that also was his observations also doing construction, like I was saying, didn't cover everything, which is interesting. So even though his idea of moving doing policeman job, very possibly he would keep construction, maybe on the weekend. He ended up developing houses, even though he was hurt. Years later, he wasn't really able to do everything physically. He developed some houses in New Jersey. He developed a few houses. He had great know-how. His father's influence was very smart in business, and he did everything legally. He was telling me the secrets of how to make a profit doing things legally with construction. But I think one interesting thing, like I'm telling you about these problems, like I would just envision maybe construction didn't cover all the safety issues. You're not involved with government enough. There's a chance someone could bother your construction. None of community service. His desire to also become a policeman was also influenced by those factors too, which was very interesting. And I think that was one good story to talk about today.
I think so too. Well, we must wrap up now. We got a minute and a half left, but great show as always. Love everything we talk about. Anything else you want to share for the wrap up?
Well, I think the best thing to do is anyone watching the show can go on to my Facebook page. They can go on to my X page. And there I have links, photographs, stories. You can go onto YouTube. I have the complete collection of all my podcasts.
Awesome.
And my architect professional on YouTube. You can watch all of them. I noticed since my wife's from Vietnam, I was able to figure out on YouTube, all you do is you go to the closed caption settings, then you go where it says auto translate and you select your language, and the closed captions are instantly translated into any language. All of a sudden, my wife is watching all my videos. I'm showing her. Doesn't have to explain what I'm saying. She can see the closed captions written right in Vietnamese, and it's very easy for her to see it.
Beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Tell Terry I said hello. And how can we reach out to you? What's your website, the Facebook group page?
Yes, Facebook, it's John Riggio, pro tennis player. You can go onto my webpage for my profession, is www.johnriggio.com. And I'm also on X. You just look at my name and I'm right there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We'll touch base again next week, usually the same time, same place. We'll be in touch, sweetie. You have a great day, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot. Good talking to you. Bye.
Thank you. To all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.